Levels of learning. In this section, we're going to talk about how to go from things we didn't even know existed to things that become a habit that we know so well we can almost close our eyes and do it. We do it almost automatically. The first slide that we have on this section is learning through experience. We see a bicycle. Please use that analogy. When we were children and somebody said, oh my gosh, I'm going to get you a bicycle, you're going to learn how to ride it, we might have never even seen one yet. We didn't even know it existed. Going to the next slide, that's what we would call unconscious incompetence. We didn't know. We didn't know there was a language that's called Chinese. We didn't know there was something that's called a bicycle. No idea what it looked like. But we found out what it was. Now we saw a bike, right? And now we know. I don't know what else to do with that. That would be the conscious incompetence. The whole goal of what we do here in this class is going to be to go from unconscious incompetence, skills and tools and ways of communicating that we never even knew existed, that we never even knew that we didn't know, to finally knowing about them as we learn them through this course, the conscious incompetence. So now I know that I don't know. And slowly as we practice them, we become consciously competent, right? So I'm thinking very clearly when I get on that bike, I'm going to pedal, I'm going to hold it, I'm going to hold my core and try to keep my balance. But when I'm doing it, I'm putting all my thought into it. You're going to see some of the tools that are coming up in the exercises. We have little wallet cards to hold you to the structure, just as you're learning how to ride a bike. It's going to feel uncomfortable, it's going to feel weird, but we're just trying to get those skills to get learned. So that would be the conscious competence. I'm practicing. And what we're really trying to get to, our biggest goal, is to be unconscious competence. Unconsciously competent. Where we're already doing things that we've practiced so often without even thinking about it. If it's sharing about my day, I just come home and share about it. I don't have to sit and say, goodness, I never share about my day. Let me sit down and follow this card. That's really all we're trying to get to. Making sure that we're learning about these relationship dynamics and these attitudes and these skills, and we're implementing them because we want to get to our dreams. Because we want to be that person for the other. And we want that other person to know that they can confide in us, that they can trust in us. Many times we do so many things we don't even realize we're pushing somebody away. But as we learn these skills and put them into play, we find ways that we no longer stifle somebody else when we didn't even know that that's what we were doing. That we no longer use the tools that we learned when we were children from our caretakers or our mothers or our fathers or whoever was around or whatever role model. Many times we do the best we can with the tools that we have, the things that we learned. If one of our caretakers, gave the silent treatment or screamed or, who knows what they did. And they use these ways of dirty fighting, or they stonewalled, or whatever they might do. Use sarcasm, be upset, be blamers. We might have pulled those tools out of the bag a bunch of times in our past. But not because we were doing anything wrong, but because we didn't have these skills. We were doing our best. You were doing your best. It's important as instructors that we're getting this information out to the people in front of us. This levels of learning slide, as simple as it looks, is so important because it is one of the foundations of forgiveness. It's important that your participants know, and as much time as I'm taking on this slide, it's really important that you do the same. It's really important that your participants know that as they're sitting through the class, there's going to be times that they think back and they say, oh my gosh, I handled that relationship so badly. I handled that situation so badly. I could have not screamed. I could have spoken about it. I could have communicated how I felt. And they might feel bad. It's really important for them to know that if they didn't have the skills beforehand, they're not expected to know them if they just didn't even know they existed. And these are skills that they're learning, and it's okay that they did whatever they did in the past. More than positive, people weren't doing it to be ill-willed. They didn't come up with a partner to be their enemy. They were doing the best they could and trying to make something right with the tools that they had. So for them to be able to forgive them, for them to be able to forgive themselves, and to now move forward knowing that now they can be responsible for what they do. They can influence what comes next. Now they can take these skills and take them home with them. So that's really, really important, because as we go through this class and people are thinking of, ooh, I did wrong in the past, or they did me wrong, make sure everybody knows they weren't broken, they weren't mean, they were trying their best, and now we want to give some great skills.